Hello, I'm Stuart Tucker. This is a meditation for June 17th, 2020. One upside of stay at home and the pandemic, when I'm walking out in the woods with my dogs, I see a lot of young families during the week that I wouldn't normally see. They're out flying kites, they're fishing, they're just taking a walk, they're they're playing in the sand. It's quite endearing for a grandpa who is far away from his granddaughter. Um, Yesterday, I saw a young family. There was a little girl. She looked about 3, the same age as my granddaughter Evelyn. They were standing by the lake, and she was picking up little rocks and throwing them into the water, and her dad was helping her throw rocks. And it reminded me of when I was doing the same thing in the same spot, only it was a different time of year. This is at Hale Reservation in Westwood, by the way, if you're familiar. Noanet Pond, they call it a pond here in New England, but it's a lake. It's a good sized lake. And some days when I was walking past the lake and it was frozen, I would hear these strange noises, various kinds of noises that I'd never heard before, having grown up in Los Angeles County. Frozen lakes are rather rare there. Sometimes the sound reminded me of recordings of humpback whales. At other times, it sounded like construction noise, dropping 2x4s. At other times, it sounded kind of like noises that would come out of a water cooler when you press the button and the bubble would come up. Sometimes it sounded kind of like when you have ice in your mouth and you're crunching it. I had no idea where were they. Was there construction on the other side of the lake going on? And also it seemed to be coming from all directions. Walked by there for years during the winter. Could never figure out where this noise was coming from. Then for some period of time, I would walk past and I would admire the beauty of the frozen lake. Again, something I wasn't used to seeing. And I noticed a bunch of rocks. Someone had stood on the beach and thrown rocks. The rocks were littered, all within a literal stone's throw on this stretch. And I thought to myself, who would spoil the pristine beauty, the perfection of a frozen lake by chucking rocks at it? It was ugly looking. Couldn't understand why. And then one day, I don't know why, it possessed me to pick up a rock and throw it. And as it skipped across the surface of the frozen lake, it made a sound, something I'd never heard. The frozen lake had become a giant musical instrument, and the entire surface of the lake resonated like the head of a drum. when I skipped the rock across. It was fascinating. It was hypnotic. I started looking for every rock I could find, every one I could dislodge from the frozen ground I would pick up, and I would throw and skip the rocks again and again just to hear that marvelous sound that seemed to come from everywhere. I'm reminded of the hymn, "This is my Father's world." It is not in our United Methodist hymnal, but it was in the Methodist hymnal, the old hymn. This is my Father's world, and to my listening ear all nature sings, and round me rings the music of the spheres. There is God's music out there if we have listening ears. And that is the meditation for today, June 17th, 2020. Goodbye, and God bless you all.